And welcome, everybody, to This Is Difficult, the best and most acclaimed podcast on Mars. It hasn't quite become so popular on Earth yet, but it's really, really popular on Mars. Just take my word for it. We're getting there.
That's why we're late. Josh was just visiting Mars.
Yeah. Oh, it's okay. They're going to watch it on
just
YouTube
got
anyway,
back.
Right? But welcome, everybody, to This Is Difficult, the podcast. We preach about the good word of save your video games. Yes, how they make my life better. And we're here to talk about those and what we did with those this week and therein of, and I'm losing steam. Paul, take over.
That was pretty solid, Josh.
Hell yeah, I did.
That's
what they pay me for.
Welcome, guys. Did you guys have a good week? How was it? What video games did you play?
None.
One video game podcast.
I'll just get mine out of the way. The only thing I did this week was stream Paper Mario with Colin. We were gonna do a mod, but we couldn't get the mod to work, so we literally, and then co-op didn't work. So it was literally just me playing Paper Mario with Colin on the screen too, and it was pretty fun.
That's kind of fun.
Which Paper Mario?
The original. Nice. Yeah.
64.
I'm crushing it. It was nuts. I was like, the second dungeon, I was like, watch me beat this in exactly 30 minutes. And he was like, there's no way. It's way too long. And I thought it was too long. And I kind of just said 30 minutes. And I beat it in like 28 minutes. I was like,
yeah.
So spicy.
So it's going to be spicy. I'm going for a new record on this. So it's already like 2 hours and I'm on this third chapter. So
that's fun. I've never played the first one. Let me take that back. I've played Mario RPG, which I consider to be the first one.
Which is a good game, a very good game, but it is dated. I will admit, it does get dated. Paper Mario is literally a perfect game, and then Thousand Year Door is even more perfect in my opinion. So I'm just like, I think that a lot of people,
honestly,
to me, it's the Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie argument, except that both games are very, very good. It's, do you prefer the more compact version? Do you prefer the more elongated, lore-filled version?
So what drove me nuts about Thousand Year Door? It's a good game. Don't get me wrong, and I enjoyed the fuck out of it.
Game.
But like all the back and forth, like literally going back to the same place over and over and over and
only
over and
in chapter
over again.
4. It's like the one time
dude,
you ever did
it's
that.
like through the whole fucking
Josh
game.
Played it so many times. Like, only in chapter 4.
Yeah, it's like the whole fucking game. It drives me insane.
Wow.
And so like that really like when I was streaming that, and I streamed it like it was 100% like blind playthrough, and I enjoyed the fuck out of myself, but I got so frustrated with some of that stuff that
I think you would really
enjoy.
I think you would maybe, if that's what you really felt, then you probably would enjoy the first one more because it's all the best parts of that. There are some enhancements to like the moves and whatnot in the second one, but in the first one, it's pretty much the core. And then it's literally, there's very few times where you do backtrack, and it's usually to like go to a new area in that area you went back to, like you find a new area.
Yeah,
that's very rare. It happens like twice, but it's normally you just consume an area and then you move on to the next area.
Yeah,
which is really nice, and you can beat it in even blind. I bet you could beat it in 14 or so hours.
I'll
Probably.
have to check it out. You know,
it's
I've
really
got it
amazing.
I've got it both on the Wii U and on my 64. Like
it's definitely more simple, but it's not bad that it's more simple. I think it's like still amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. Zach, what'd you play?
I didn't play much either, but I did beat Space Marine. I'm very happy with that. God, that game was fun. I was giggling right up to the end. The end got particularly difficult. It was very much a Josh plays Megaman ending. I was like, okay, I'm up against the wall. I got like 10 minutes before I got to go and make dinner. I got to beat it here. And a friend of mine jumped in the chat, said, hey, I'm like, yes, Dover, this one's for you. And I dove in flawless. Basically didn't get hit at all by any enemies, and it went right into the quick time event ending. And I was like, that felt good.
Dude,
so that was my. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, when you hit that flow state in a game like that, there's maybe not a more satisfying.
Flow state is the good game.
And you know, it's the whole time is relative thing too, because I was watching my timer on my Twitch stream get closer and closer to that 2-hour mark, which is when I have to kill it so I can go make dinner in time for my wife to get home.
What a good guy.
And I was just like, through the whole like primary part of the stream, it was just racing. Like hour one went by in what felt like seconds, and then that second hour was just time crawling, and then the final flow state was just time didn't move.
Yeah,
I love that.
It was so cool.
That's the good game.
Yeah, so I'll be reviewing that in a few weeks, but very cool game. What I did have happen though is I mean, we're moving, So I found all my games.
Hell yeah.
And I went through, I was like, oh, look at this cartridge. Oh, look at this thing that I found.
Dude, I love that.
So
Awesome.
yeah, I found some really cool stuff. I found like Paperboy. And
Damn, NES Paperboy.
Maybe
NES
the most
Paperboy.
frustrating game of all time.
Oh, possibly. I found the Great Waldo Search. And I'm like, I don't remember ever owning that game.
Wow.
Cool. Probably never going to play it, but it's a thing that I have. So yeah, it was some cool bit of nostalgia diving.
Excellent.
And then I also dipped my toes into looking or trying to figure out the mysteries of Intercreates.
Yeah.
Because we started to talk about that last week.
We're going to talk about that here in a second, because we kind of talked about it a little bit and erroneously named a different game that we thought was one thing was another. Dude, on that like nostalgia note, sometimes I just like dig through my little nightstand drawer. All my Game Boy games are in there. And I just look at my Game Boy games. I just pick them up and look at them, you know, like but yeah, that's a great feeling, like going through all your old stuff like that. That nostalgia trip is, you know, it's awesome.
And then the one other little bit of gaming that I did this week, one of the schools that I teach at got absolutely decimated by the old pandemic this week.
Yeesh.
There were 14 kids in the building on Friday. 55 out. 55 absences.
Damn.
That's not all of those. I will say, not all of those have COVID. A lot of those are just parents being extra cautious.
The school clean.
Yeah, basically they had to deep clean the school this weekend.
Wow.
And you know, we'll see how that pans out. But the instruction from the administrators was, okay, no, the things are too tense there right now. Everybody who's going to be there, mask up, and we'll just do like a movie day, and teachers will do planning for the pivot to remote, because there's going to be a lot of kids who are going to be remote for a while. And so we were like, okay, fine. You know, my stuff is already remote because I'm the technology teacher. They literally just go to my website, follow the instructions, and it's good.
Oh yeah.
So I had very, very little to do, and one of my students brought her Switch in, and it's the student who's been playing Link's Awakening, and she's like, "Hey, I'm stuck. I've got this chain chomp, but I can't see anything." And I was like, "Oh, use the magic powder and the torches." And she spent the rest of the day cruising through Link's Awakening.
Awesome.
She'll hit you up again at Eagle. No, probably Face Tower or whatever. Face Shrine.
That Face Shrine's the hardest one for me. That one was.
That's the hardest one to get into for me.
Yeah.
I'm like,
and
then
getting into it's whack because
Eagle is kind of annoying to get into also.
Yeah. Eagle's not as
always
bad.
Turtle Rock, baby. Turtle Rock fucks me in both games. In fucking Link to the Past and Link's Awakening, it's the bane of my existence.
I feel like Turtle Rock is like, as far as difficulty, is the hardest. Like the enemies you're dealing with and things like that. But I didn't ever really feel stuck in Turtle Rock. You know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas in Face Shrine, I felt fucking stuck. It was like, what am I missing? Like, there's always that bomb that bomb wall that I forget to get. Yeah. You know, and I'm like, where the fuck do I go? I've looked everywhere.
Very hard games. I will say I love Link's Awakening because some of the dungeons are easier than a normal Zelda game, but most of them are like high caliber dungeon quality. Yeah. Like the first two, maybe three, are like pretty easy mode though.
Yeah.
You can beat the first 3 dungeons in like 2 hours or less.
Oh, easy.
Maybe even an hour, like very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was my week of gaming. Mostly just a nostalgia trip when I was packing things up. But a little bit of Space Marine, a little bit of Zelda. How about you, Paul?
I also didn't play a lot, but I did play some good stuff. So, as some of you may know, I'm kind of in between games on my like main game that I'm playing on stream. So I was just playing some Samurai Warriors on stream this week, which is fun. I'm really enjoying that game. I think that they've really evolved the Warriors franchise in pretty meaningful ways. I don't know. It could be maybe I'm looking at this like I haven't played many Warriors games in a long time, other than like Hyrule and stuff like that. So these evolutions could have been taking place in like little tiny increments over the course of all the, there's like a bazillion of these games. So, getting in there and checking it out now, like it's satisfying. You know, like I don't feel as burnt out as when I was playing those games back in the day, and they all felt the same. Like they're doing some unique things, which is good. You know, that games need to evolve like that. And then I also, because of our conversation last week with Intercreates, we were talking about what at the time, and here's where the correction comes in. We had mentioned that that Blaster Master was like basically like rejected Mega Man Zero games, which is not accurate. The games we were thinking of were the Mighty Gunvolt games,
Mighty
which
Gunvolt,
are
yep.
also
Never heard of.
I wouldn't say that they're necessarily rejected Mega Man Zero
They
games.
just
But so like you've got like the first two Gunvolt games are very they're very original Nintendo Mega Man esque.
yes.
And they even feature what was supposed to be the spiritual successor to Mega Man, which is Mighty Number 9.
Right.
He's playable in both of those two games. And they're very good. They're very hard, but they've got some really cool, unique things, especially like the second one, which I actually finished literally right before the podcast, which is called Mighty Gunvolt Burst. That game has some really awesome and unique like weapon customization systems in it, which is super super fun. And then after that, they go into the I believe there's two currently Azure Striker Gunvolt games, which are more in like the Mega Man Zero style. Both of those were released on 3DS, but they were also re-released on the Nintendo Switch. And then there's a third one coming.
Yep.
So I'm excited about
bad.
them. They're actually very cool games, and they're different enough from Mega Man that like I don't feel like Mega Man fatigue or anything like that. Like if I've been playing Mega Man games and going to those, but if I still want like good, you know, action platformy, you know, whatever, it's good. You know, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good times. So I'm
and what the source of the confusion there for me was I was trying to come up with the connection between Capcom and Intercreates because those Azure Striker games do have a very Zero-esque quality to them, as do in some ways the Blaster Master series, mostly in a from a visual standpoint.
I thought Blaster Master was more like original Nintendo. Like, let me look up Blaster Master.
Blaster Master's, I think it's called Blaster Master Zero, and it is the newest one, and it just has the art style of at least the promotional materials.
Are these Intercreates games too?
Yeah. Yep.
I'm gonna look.
And yeah, the art style of the promotional materials looks like the same sort of art style of the promotional materials for the Mega Man Zero games. You're right in terms of gameplay. It's not the same. It's definitely I was thinking of Azure Striker for sure.
Yeah, because this is like you've got like in Blaster Master. Yeah, this is exactly what I was thinking of. You've got like a little car that you can drive around, and you also have like you've got like an overworld where you're kind of like a chibi looking guy, and you can walk around and shoot like top down, and then you also have like side scrolling levels where you're in like this tank kind of thing. And do a bunch of shit, and then you can get out of your tank as your little guy and jump around and stuff. They look like awesome games, honestly.
They look great,
but and very different from Mega Man. Yeah,
right. What threw me is the promotional materials.
Okay.
The promotional art looks exactly like the promotional art for Zero, for Mega Man Zero. And you're absolutely correct. It's the Azure Striker Gunvolt games that I was thinking of when I was talking yesterday. But I also did learn that Intercreates was founded by ex-Capcom employees, so there is an intimate connection.
I would assume they're the same people who made Mighty Number 9, which
I assume so. Yeah,
was a fucking failure. Like this is one of the most notorious like failed. Let's see. I'm not seeing. So developers level 5 concept and yeah, Inti creates. Yeah, okay. And the writer is Kenji Inafune, who he's the Mega Man guy.
He's
right?
the Mega Man guy.
And so but this was one of those, it was like the first like big scale like Kickstarter like failed video game. You know, like everyone kickstarted it. They're like, here's the, you know, spiritual successor to Mega Man. It's going to be freaking awesome. And then it was like a fucking giant turd when it came out. I think there's been updates to it to make it like better and more playable, but I still think it's not what people wanted it to be or expected it to be. So it did not do super well.
Right.
Though that character is playable in like I said, the first 2 Gunvolt games, and you know, he plays very much like Mega Man. Pretty cool. So yeah. Very interesting. Anyway, that's our spiel about the mighty number.
Was it redaction or?
Yeah, a little bit of a redaction. We kind of flew off the handle last week, but we do that a lot. So, like, don't come here if you want facts, guys.
We don't have our researcher with us anymore. Can you tell?
Yeah, we're just a few dudes that like to talk about video games and play them. Yeah, for sure. So, that all being said, and being that we've been on like a Mega Man kick recently, Zach, why don't you? Here, we'll transition into the screen here, and hopefully it's not broken. It is broken. Let me fix this real quick. I'm gonna go back to the main, and we'll fix it. Fill with some stuff. I'll get that fixed.
No, I'm really excited to try some of those Azure Striker games. I played them only at like PAX East or whatever, and not for a very long time because I had to get back to the booth. But they're very cool, and I need to get on that.
Yeah, I enjoy them a lot. I think they're very much worth looking into, especially if you like Mega Man style games.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm almost there, boys.
Ooh. Sorry, moving has absolutely wrecked my back.
Yeah, that'll happen. That'll happen.
Realizing that.
All right, we're good. So let me fix this. Boom, and one more deal. Okay.
All right. Is the video playing?
The video's playing.
Okay, cool.
I fixed it.
Yeah. So I finally played Mega Man 11. I bought Mega Man 11 when I bought my Switch. And it's really hard. Like, I consider myself a reasonably decent Mega Man player. I'm not, Adam level and,
looks
playing
really
X
good
without dying once. But
that's
like,
insane.
I can get through a Mega Man game in general. You put it in front of me, I will play it. I'll probably die a few times. That's expected. Fine. I'll do learning and growing. Mega Man 11, I had like 13 or 14 false starts playing that game.
What do you mean by false start?
A little bit. By false start, I mean like I would start playing it like intending to finish it, and I just couldn't do it.
Oh, me too. Yeah, for sure.
I just over and over, I'd put it in, and I was running it on normal. I was like, I can beat a Mega Man game on normal. That seems fine.
Yeah, mistake.
Huge mistake. Both of us, Paul and I both had to turn it down to Wimpy Kitty Baby mode. And
well, I did the one right above. I think there's
four difficulties.
Yeah, so I did the one that's right above the very most babyest.
This looks very puzzly.
I just went right down to Wimpy Kitty Baby mode.
This is like a puzzle shooter version of
To be
Donkey
fair,
Kong.
I have not finished this game either.
Right.
What were you saying, Josh?
I'll get into that in a second.
Oh, okay.
He's watching the video.
Yeah.
I'm watching the video. I want to see what it looks like. Yeah.
So what you're seeing behind me is actually, this is after I had cleared everything. I just went back and recorded this. That's why you've got no overlays and no extra face cam and stuff. So I'll go through the details and then I'll get into what was unique about this game. Let's put it that way. So it's Mega Man 11. It was developed by Capcom, as all the Mega Man games are. It was released October 2nd of 2018. And while I played it on the Nintendo Switch, which seemed the most logical considering that Mega Man got its start on Nintendo, it is also available for PC, PS4, Switch, and Xbox One. And I have it on Xbox One also, I think because it was given to me. But I definitely have no inclination to play that on an Xbox controller. That seems uncomfortable and weird.
Yeah.
What I liked about the game, it's Mega Man. It's platforming. It's a blue guy who shoots weird yellow pellets out of his gun. It's classic Blue Bomber. Rush is back. All the characters are back, and it's difficult. All the staples, all the things you expect from a Mega Man game, right down to the Robot Masters and Dr. Wily. They're interesting. They're unique. They're different. You're going to use them all in one way or another. They're all back. It's just a Mega Man game, and that's what I expected out of it. What I didn't like, okay, they made it a little too difficult.
I think so.
They went all in on having these 4 difficulties. Okay, fine. That's new territory for a Mega Man game. Usually it's just 1. And it's hard, but not impossible.
Right. Hard but fair is how I would describe most Mega Man games. Some Mega Man games I would say are brutally hard, but most of them are hard but fair.
Accurate. Yeah. Right. Once you figure it out, it's like, oh yeah, that's fair. The big hiccup came when they introduced this dual gear system, which is literally 2 gears.
Yeah.
And one of them slows down time, and the other is like this your charge shot, basically.
Well, it doubles your charge shot, right?
It doubles your charge shot. Yeah, exactly. It's a double up charge shot, and then when you have one of the Robot Master weapons, it is the charge shot version of that.
Oh, so like the arm extension. I haven't played enough of this game to know, but like the arm extension in Mega Man X.
Yes. Yep. Exactly. And it still kind of modifies time, or you expect it to. And it's you do the dual gear system with the bumpers on the controller, and that's not an intuitive action for Mega Man.
Right.
If I'm using the bumpers, it's to play Mega Man X and I'm dashing.
Right.
You can't dash in Mega Man. That's not a thing.
You got the slide.
You can slide. You can slide. But I know how to do that. That's down and it's down B.
Yeah.
It's always been down B.
And it's wildly different from your Mega Man X dash.
Exactly.
It looks way different.
You can't get
much
dash
more
jumps.
evasive dash than it's not a dash jump.
It's fixed.
So it's
there's also no wall jumping.
Right. And
though
right,
these
Josh,
games
there's
are
no
not
wall jumping.
Like they're not designed to need them,
Correct.
So.
Yeah. So Josh complained last week on his review of X that he couldn't shoot in a specific direction. And Paul and I explained that that's because this game is entirely based on movement. It's based on your position on the screen and a linear shot. That's the expectation. This one's the classic Mega Man games 1 through 11 are even more based on that than X is.
Yeah.
X allows you a little bit more freedom by allowing you to dash and allowing you to wall ride and stuff like that. And even 0 allows you the sword. So it's a totally different ballgame. This relies so heavily on using the boss weapons.
Damn.
There are segments where you absolutely have to. You cannot progress the game if you don't have a specific boss weapon.
Interesting.
Yeah. Shamali and I were talking about it, and he was like, I don't know if I can play that. Like, I usually go full buster through most of the levels.
Yeah.
I said, yes, me too. I hardly ever switched weapons outside of the X series.
Well, even in X, I like to do mostly buster just because it feels more Mega Man to me. But, obviously I enjoy using the other weapons. But there's never been a Mega Man game that I felt like I absolutely was forced to use a particular weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah, this area looks fucked.
There's maybe a possible a world that you could do a full buster run of it, but I couldn't see it playing through on Wimpy Kitty Baby mode and then going back on normal once I'd beaten the game and understand how the mechanics work. I just couldn't see a world where I would play it in any other order than the order I played it.
Right.
Because the boss weapons are just that valuable.
Yeah. That's wild. Dude, and
so
just for perspective, this area is on Wimpy Kitty Baby mode. Yeah, that's how hard this game is.
Yeah. This whole video is, and then they did a weird thing in this one where you can, like, the map is it's like a 9 grid, so you can go down a screen. Like normally you go across the screen and you can go up in Mega Man, but you could fall through the floor and go down, which normally in my Mega Man brain goes, you fall through that, you're dead.
Well,
you're falling into oblivion. Or
there's a lot of Mega Man games that have like falling sections like that.
No, I know, but like it's just for some reason that didn't click because they didn't make it visually any different.
Okay.
It looks like a bottomless pit.
Sure. Okay.
And I'm like, okay, I'm on Wimpy Kitty Baby mode, so Beat's just gonna pick me up. I guess I'm just gonna dive in this hole,
right,
and see what happens. And most of the time I was right, but a couple of times I got it wrong, and I'm like, I don't like that. No. I don't like there's being no visual stimulus to tell me whether or not this is a bottomless pit.
Sure. Yeah. Of course.
So that was just like a niggly little detail, but it just I don't know. There was just a bunch of stuff that didn't sit right. The bosses were very, very easy.
That sucks.
Like, very easy. The
so
level
if
design,
you have the right weapon,
right? Well, even so, I mean, any boss I think could be taken down with a few precise buster shots.
Okay.
Other than like one maybe. I don't remember their names at this point, but it was the guy with. I
mean, the boss you're fighting right now in the background, I struggle with this boss. It's the big snow guy.
Oh, okay. Yep.
I struggled with him with Buster only. I was able to do it, but it was a struggle, especially when it gets big.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple that would be a struggle, but doable. The levels though are
this looks insane.
Stupid. Some of them. There's one that you're literally just bouncing all over the place. You can't even walk.
Yeah, getting the hang of navigating that area is very, very tricky.
And like instead of holding,
that boss is way too easy.
Button, I was holding the jump button, so I could jump a little higher. And I'm like, this is really tedious.
Yeah,
I fell in holes and that was the one that had the holes that looked like bottomless pits.
Right.
And I was like, oh my god, this level's stupid. So just the level design was the difficulty on the level design was turned a little bit too high, and the difficulty on the bosses was just turned a little bit too low, I think. And I think that would have helped a lot. That said, was it fun? Yeah, it's Mega Man. Especially once I started getting used to it and started using the dual gear system.
Yeah,
it was super fun. It was just Mega Man, and I was right back at home.
Yeah. I think if the dual gear system was more intuitive, it would make this game like much more playable on the harder difficulties. It's just it feels so unnatural, and it's so unlike anything that you've done in any other Mega Man game ever.
Yeah,
that it
slowing down time just doesn't fit with Mega Man. That's
weird.
There's
I don't even understand what it's for.
Well, there's a pace to the Mega Man games, right, Josh? Like, and you kind of experienced that with X, and there are certain bosses, especially Yellow Devil, that I had to slow down time in order to beat him.
This looks like it just makes it easier. Slowing down time.
Does, but also it doesn't, because you slow down time and you also have to be more precise.
Yeah, so you need to know when to use it. It's also like it's on a cooldown, so you can't just spam the slowdown mechanic.
Right.
It's also like the button placement for it feels weird. Like it doesn't feel like, like he said before, it feels like what you would do to slide or something like that in X, but you don't think to do that, especially if you've played a lot of classic Mega Man games, are basically just 2-button games, right?
Right.
Jump and shoot.
The first 6 of them are.
Yeah. And so it just is it's a weird feeling, and it's hard to get used to. That's probably what I struggle with.
That is exactly correct.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just strange. The art was really cool. The art for these games,
oh my god, you keep falling down.
If you're watching this on YouTube, you're seeing this behind me. The art is gorgeous.
Yeah, I kind of have a problem with the 2.5D.
Yeah, me too. I would prefer it to be 2D.
Yeah,
but it is gorgeous, and I have to give them that.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
The music it's Mega Man music. I was smiling from the moment I turned the game on.
Yeah, it's good.
That music is such fire. It's perfect. The sound design. I had beef with the sound design.
Let's hear that.
It was voice acted. This game is entirely voice acted.
It's disgusting.
And I don't love that in Mega Man. He's never, other than the cartoon, excuse me, he's never had a voice before. And they actually tried to go close to the cartoon voices on this.
So the later Mega Man X games, and even like the first couple Mega Man X games, and some of the variations, there's like anime cutscenes where they're voiced.
Yeah, and that's fine. In cutscenes, fine, but actually in the game,
That's weird.
yeah.
it was just weird.
Saint
Zero
Star
makes
Fox.
some like, I think he says a couple of words here and there, but I think they're in Japanese, so I don't understand them. And it's like, that's fine. That doesn't bother me, because he says one word at the beginning of a level, and that's it. Everything else is in the dialogue boxes. In this, it's all voice acted, and it's like, okay, shut up, Mega Man. Your voice is annoying me, just like it does in the cartoon. Yes, Josh, there's a Mega Man cartoon.
Oh my god, I figured as much.
Yeah, I have it. It's
There was a couple
it's a thing.
Mega Man cartoons. There's an anime, and there was a
yeah. There's
like a
proper,
Western
like,
one. There's a
Yeah.
Mega Man X show. None of
there's
them were
Battle
very
Network.
good.
I liked the Battle Network.
Better than the
I
Mario
did.
Bros. Shows.
Better than the Mario Bros. Shows,
Yeah,
yes, but
sounds
not
good.
like stupendous.
And they changed the sounds of the Buster, and they changed the sounds of, I mean, obviously the new weapons are going to have different sounds, but the sound design just seemed, I kind of had the same beef as with the art. It's like this, I don't love this. It's not what I really
It's
want,
good, but it
like,
doesn't
it's
feel like
good.
Mega Man.
Yeah, exactly. It's good. It does feel like Mega Man. How long did it take me? 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Not bad.
Door to door. Yep. It was not long. It's Mega Man length. Once you hit that flow state, you're just like, oh no, okay, I got it.
Exactly. You just
The
start
hardest
cramming
part
them.
was Yellow Devil. I had to fight Yellow Devil probably 15 times before I figured out his moves. But that's expected in Mega Man. Wily was super easy. You have the weapons, you do it.
Yeah.
It's game over. Was the game difficult? Yeah. We've talked about that. It was hella difficult until I turned down the difficulty.
Yeah.
And then I
Now,
figured
see,
the
on
game out.
any difficulty above this, anytime you hit those spikes, it's gonna kill you. So
That
Correct.
sucks.
yeah,
I hate that.
yeah.
And
so
honestly,
like this
in the
would be
video here, I'm playing a
brutal.
little
Look at
loose.
that shit.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
raw.
playing really loose just to capture footage. But I'm playing back through on normal mode, and it's harder. The jumps are more precise, but I'm used to it now.
Right.
So it's still not that difficult now that I know
This
it.
move looks really broken. That gun looks like the best gun because you just drop rock.
The ice
bricks.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I love the rock drop one
Rock
and the
drop.
ice one. Would I play a sequel? It's Mega Man. Of course, I'm going to play a sequel.
Yeah.
But please remove the dual gear system. That doesn't work.
It just
Yeah.
feels like a needless addition that complicates Mega Man in a way it shouldn't be. What
Yeah.
X did to Mega Man with the addition of more mobility techniques is brilliant. What this does to Mega Man with a weird, like, it's almost like a
Katana
cheat
Zero.
that they let you use, but like
Yeah.
the timing of it's weird, and like the cooldown's weird, and it just
So
feels
in-
really unnatural.
You should try to make it like Katana Zero,
Yeah.
think that's
You're
literally
right,
what
Josh.
it
You're
looks
absolutely
like.
right.
which is like a very fast game that they have to slow down because it's too fast. Mega Man, you're supposed to be able to go faster than you currently do and not slow things
Right.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Incan-
great point.
right?
It defeats
That's
kind of
a
like
really-
the spirit
Mega
of
Man?
Mega Man,
Yeah.
like that kind of speed
For
running.
X, for me, like you gain mobility throughout the game and you become
Yes.
better and faster as you go and become more skilled. And the whole thing was like, I can breeze through these levels now that I'm a pro. To have a mechanic that actually forces you to do the opposite, and although you may be more agile, but you are doing it because you're slowing down time, that's like counterintuitive to the design of the game. Like,
And that's
Yeah, that's a
exactly
great
where I was going to
point.
go with that, Josh.
Yeah.
In canon, right? Proto Man is the prototype for all of these. Mega
Right.
Man is the protagonist for the majority of the games at this point.
a prototagonist.
And eventually, Dr. Light invents X, who is the advanced version. So somewhere along the line, the evolution of Mega Man should, approach the prototype version of X.
Right.
And this feels like a giant step backward.
Yeah.
yeah.
Even X into the Zero games, which Zero takes place after X, there's a progression there because Zero is a supported character, and you see his evolution along with X's.
Right.
But there doesn't seem to be that solid a connection between the dual gear system that Mega Man is using in this game to anywhere. It just like, where are they going to go with that? How did they bring that toward becoming X? I just don't see it. it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And maybe it's something that gets explained down the line. It's Megaman, so it probably won't be.
Right.
But even Battle Network seemed closer to the X Games than this did.
Right.
Oof.
Yeah.
So my overall rating is not as high as I would like it to be. It's like I gave X what 8.6 last week. You guys gave it 8.5.
Yeah.
This is more like a 7.5.
Oh, that's not as low as I thought you were gonna say.
Yeah.
Maybe not even. Like
I thought you were gonna say like 6.
My mind is no. It's not. It's not in the 6 territory. It's not. It's not
Okay.
just okay.
Still really good.
It's still a good game.
Yeah.
But my rating is going to be a 7.3.
Yeah.
That's where my gut is heading.
The one thing that I noticed about the game that, you know, I kind of liked, but at the same time, it was frustrating, you know, like how it was executed was it still very much feels like classic Mega Man games.
Yes, it
right.
does.
So like
Yes.
classic Nintendo Mega Man games, but like those are my least favorite ones personally because they're so brutally difficult, you know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that's a fair score. I have not finished the game, but like, you know, knowing everything about it and what I have played of it, it'd probably be in that range too, like maybe a 7. you
Yep.
know.
Yeah,
that
it
sucks.
doesn't get above a 7.5, and
That sucks.
I'm giving it a 7.3 because it's.
I just want a new version of X. I just want a new
Yeah.
version with all those controls and like a new mechanical style and like
Yeah,
not
play the Mega Man
Josh
Zero
will-
games.
Right, but even so, like I'd happily take just a new installment in the X series.
Yeah,
released
absolutely.
on Switch.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
Right.
That's what we need. That's what I
that's
want.
what the fans want, man.
Yep.
That
yeah.
sounds amazing.
Absolutely.
So, is it worth buying? Yeah. And
Especially if you're a fan of
play
the
the game.
classic Mega Man games, yeah.
It's not expensive. You know, it's like I think I paid $15 for it.
Oh.
But
Not
it's
too bad.
you know you're in for a steep climb. If you're gonna jump right in on normal mode, I beat it on Wimpy Kitty Baby mode. I'm going back on normal mode now and playing it. But it's know that you've got a steep hill to climb. It's a steep learning curve, and I don't like that in a Mega Man game.
Yeah. There you go.
I just don't.
You heard the man. Does that wrap it up?
That's it.
Excellent. Let's get into our
All right.
main topic. All right.
Wait, no, not news. Other
So,
things.
topic this week, and I think this kind of fits a lot of what we talked about so far today. Is I forget what we named it, but basically subtext in video games, the tale between the lines.
There's
Okay.
a great.
lines.
Have you guys ever watched the Masterclass in Ocarina of Time? Zelda.
Yeah.
I think it's called Zelda the Masterclass. That's
Here
my
we go.
favorite YouTube video about
It's a great
subtext.
video. Yeah.
Really incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Talk about it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So basically, subtext is, just for those who don't know, when something is like unsaid in a game, like something is presented, or there's a feel or like a visual cue that just like you walk into the room in a game or something and you're just like, whoa, or the story implies something and you're just supposed to understand the lore because of that. And so this guy did a huge video about Link and how he's like sacrificing everything to be the hero, and it's like talks about his like plight and all that, and it's really amazing, and it like reads between the. I highly recommend watching this video, Zelda the Masterclass. I can't remember who he does a God of War one also. That's really good. But yeah, so you continue. But I think I love that kind of shit.
So for me, I would say the most the games that stand out the most in my mind as far as subtext are concerned are actually the mainline Metroid games.
Yes.
Metroid is
yes.
really good.
Yeah.
Did we throw Hollow Knight into that? I think I saw that in the text.
Yeah, Hollow Knight's
is another
listed.
one.
I don't know
And
much
Mega Man.
about Hollow Knight, but
I can kind of fill it in.
yeah,
But
for sure. But like for me, like the Metroid games in general, particularly the first 3, do a
Especially
really
Super.
good job of conveying an entire like pretty flushed out story without saying a fucking word.
It's
You
amazing.
know, you get like a little
At
lines of
all.
like intro dialogue in some of them, and then you get some ending dialogue, but
Yeah.
everything in between is all story that you
Yep.
experience as you're playing it, and
Yep.
it never has to be said to you.
It's
I think
amazing.
Metroid 2 does like the best job of it because you're going through and you're you know, you're basically like you're doing a genocide on the Metroids
Yeah.
on that planet, and like you're entering into all these like empty spaces, and like you can feel just like the loneliness and like the dread and things like that as you're moving from one area to the next. And that's the one where you pick up the baby Metroid at the end, right?
Yes, Metroid
Yeah.
2.
So like after you've basically literally eradicated this entire species, you find this baby Metroid, and that baby Metroid kind of like pair bonds with you,
It
you know.
bonds,
And
yeah.
again, none of this is said, but it's very apparent in what's going on in the game,
is.
and then it follows up in Super Metroid, where you have the same kind of thing. I think there's a little less subtext because there's a lot more going on, and they give you a little more of an intro. But like it still continues that theme, and it ties in the baby Metroid, right? Like, spoiler alert, that it fucking saves your life at the end of the game,
I
you
love
know. And again, they do it without saying almost a word, and it's fucking
Yeah.
incredible. I don't think any game does subtext better than those
Oh, no.
first three
No,
Metroid
definitely
games.
not.
Even when they bring it into 3D in Metroid Prime, if you don't read any lore on the walls and you skip all the cutscenes, and which even the cutscenes are very much like Samus just like going to an area,
doing a thing, yeah.
doing a thing, and she's just there, and now you control her. It's
Right.
just like so amazing. Like even Prime, it's like you just like you're in a Chozo ruin. Oh, like I see that the people are like destroyed. Oh, you see the connection between Samus and the Chozo now, and like all of this. I love all of those, but I feel like Metroid Prime for me was the biggest home run, at least not necessarily in subtext, but as far as fleshing out this massive, massive, deep lore and world.
Sure,
But
yeah.
like, and then you add things like the lore and like certain like mild like writings in places, and it like really fleshes it out. Super had more of that than the older ones, but like even still, that's basically what Hollow Knight is. There's no fucking words except like people are like, oh, the world is like this now, and you're like, oh, what happened? Like that
Yeah.
kind of thing. And you'll find like a
Dark
desiccated,
Souls too.
yeah, you'll find like a dead king like in the catacombs, and you'll be like, huh, like what? No words or anything, and like you're just like, what the fuck? And it's like all like background like visuals.
Well, all the dialogue in Hollow Knight takes place in the present.
Yeah.
You talk to Hornet before you fight her, and she tells you what she's doing at that second. You have to go through yourself and find all the history stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, it's all the characters are very much in the moment. Yeah, and it's until the very ending when you're just like, wow, now I understand. Like, holy shit! Like, it's one of those insane games where you're just like, yeah.
The Dark Souls games do that too, though.
Yeah,
I think with a little more, there's a little more exposition in those games, but it's hidden, right?
I was about to say the subtext is very buried in Dark Souls.
Yeah, so like you get it by you start to understand the world by like the text on like the description texts on your items, and like when you're talking to people in that world, they'll have conversations with you, and it's not like the way they do it is not like they're like this happened and this happened and this happened and this is the plot of the game. Like they'll make references to other things in that world, and you have to then infer what the meaning of that is and how that applies to the lore. And I think it's done really well. There's games that have like tried to imitate Dark Souls in that sense as far as how they convey the story throughout the world, and they've failed fucking miserably.
Lightning doesn't strike twice.
Right. So
there are some games that are like really well thought out though that still have a massive amount of subtext as well though. Sure. Like the one that rises to the surface in my mind is Majora's Mask. Like this game, the story's written, you know what's happening.
Yeah.
But
the fact that it's about the 5 stages of grief is just
exactly.
Like, what?
Like a character will say something and it's so like thought provoking. You're just like, was it about what you were saying? Or was it about this like really deep, almost like fourth wall breaking thing, like that's supposed to influence the player? Like,
and I'll be honest,
actually saying, like,
I'll be honest, until you and Colin told me that it's about the 5 stages of grief, I didn't even notice it. And then I went back, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's nuts. And that's like the base layer is that Majora's Mask represents each section is the 5 stages of grief, but within that and within each shell of that, like each stage, there's so much deep like subtext, foreshadowing, like all types of stuff that characters are implying, and that like the story is just implying, like oh, like this character is like sad because of something, and you're like, huh, what does that like mean? Or, like it's not, nothing is as straightforward as it seems in that game, which I love.
And speaking of, subtextual story, like I'm notorious on my channel, like the games that I play are games with good story mode.
Go on.
Textual. The games that I play primarily on my streams are games with good and very clear and precisely laid out stories that are just like what you see is what you get. But it occurs to me now that my favorite games,
I was just about to say,
don't have that at all.
Yeah,
right? Because that, of course, being Megaman.
Yeah,
this is a story told out over 20, maybe 30 games at this point.
Yeah, it's nuts.
And here we are, like you get to the end of a game, you don't know half of what's gone down. Yeah. I get to the end of Mega Man 1 and I'm like, okay, great, I'm going to play Mega Man 2 now. But in between those two games, there's a whole side story going on between Dr. Light and Dr. Wily. When they bring in Dr. Cossack and some of the other characters later on in the series, that's a whole story as well. And like I said during the review, somewhere along the line, there's a story that evolves Mega Man into X.
Right.
And there's the story between the X games and the Zero games where I don't want to spoil it for you, Josh, but stuff happens.
Yeah,
I don't like that too much.
I think the best example of subtext in the Mega Man series in general is in the X series, where they're basically it's kind of like that classic like cyberpunk question, like what is like humanity, what comes to the point where AI has now become like an actual consciousness. And that's explored a lot in the subtext in those games, particularly the X series.
A lot of good subtext is like always involved in, and this is what Zach was just saying, like my favorite type of game type of thing. I love a game where like you don't see the ending coming at all.
Yes.
And like the ending, you're just like, damn, like what the fuck? And like that is a great example of subtext in itself, because even up until the very last moment, you are putting the pieces together. Like a great example is Katana Zero. Like, holy shit, that game is a master in it as well. Up until the very last moment, where if you were not paying attention very clearly to the entire game, you don't know what's happening at the end. You literally can't just watch it and be like, I understand the ending.
Dude, that one scene,
think about it, and you're like, what? And it's nuts. And
there's that one scene in my like, I've got a clip of it in my BRB screen for my streams, but like it flashes back to that hut, and there's like the little boy and the little girl, and the shadowy figure comes in and like throws the girl against the wall, and it becomes Leviathan, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, like, really, but then later you find out like exactly what's going on, and it's like your guilt and your like the
nuts.
I'm not gonna give away exactly what is going on in that, because I think that game's very much worth playing and finding out for yourself. But
I agree.
But yeah, there's it's so good. It's
I've just thought now of a game that tries to do subtext and fails.
Give me.
It's Batman Arkham Knight.
Aww.
And I'll be reviewing this coming up very soon. I'm very close to the end of it now, but like they do a review. It's been out for long enough I can talk about it. The Arkham Knight is Jason Todd, and I saw it coming a mile away, because they start doing the foreshadowing thing, Josh, that we talked about in Majora's Mask, but they start doing it a little too clearly.
See, that's
and you don't have to be Batman to figure out. As soon as Joker starts talking about, or sorry, the Joker part of your psyche starts talking about Jason Todd, you know exactly what's coming.
I just got a red hood.
And it's about halfway through the game. What's that?
I said I just got a red hood hoodie the other day.
Oh, nice.
dude, I love Red Hood, one of my favorite characters. But like, as soon as Joker starts talking about him, you're like, oh, okay, Arkham Knight is Jason Todd, and like I feigned it for several streams. I was like, oh, who could it be? And I actually thought I did a pretty good job of acting it. Obviously, I'm going over the top now, but I was like, as soon as it was revealed, I'm like, yeah, I called that. That was pretty obvious.
Oh, that's lame.
Yeah, it was really. I hate
obvious. Obvious tropes are like not even fun. It's like so dumb.
Kind of ruins it sometimes. Yeah,
it ruins it. So like a good example of being able to avoid that without always being, dude, it always comes back to Zelda for me. Is all I'm saying. You can make a complex story that like goes in enough directions to where you come to a very satisfying ending, and like you're gonna kill Ganon, you're gonna lay the Master Sword to rest, and you're gonna save the world, right? But it's all about like, how does this come to pass? How much strife does Link have to go through to get to it? Like, it's always different, always feels very satisfying, and is a very unique, different way. And you sacrifice like a great deal. But then there are stories that are just like, that's going to happen, and it just like leads you straight to it. And you're just like, okay, I know I'm going to win. The good guys win. Okay, like the good guys won. Okay, the game's over. Okay, like what was the point? And then there's the third type of ending, which is like the holy shit. The like, I didn't see any of that coming. Like the game totally hid everything type of thing. Yeah. Oh my God, Undertale, master of subclass as well. I think that game has one of the best scripts ever written in a game. It is so have you played that, Paul?
No, and it's because I can't get past the aesthetic. I hate it.
Which is crazy to me. I love the aesthetic.
I hate it.
I love it.
It's so repulsive.
One exception. Most of the time, if my students are playing a game by my personal rule, I will not play that game. But a couple of them were playing Undertale. I'm like, yeah,
I've heard awesome things.
Sans is like a meme, like one of the characters from that.
And isn't it like like a spiritual successor to the Mother series?
So it's actually more like not a spiritual successor as much as it's like,
isn't Ness like a character in it, like a dead character?
I don't want to like spoil it. I don't want to spoil anything. It's more like I guess the word would be spiritual. No, it's not though.
It's not.
It's like an homage, dude. I can't tell you how many references. There are so many references in this game. Like without spoiling it, there's literally one scene. It was like a bunch of shit on a table, and like the game is so fourth wally, and it's absolutely genius how it's written.
I hate that.
There's like. You're crazy.
I hate like a bunch of shit on a table. Cringy.
A bunch of shit on a table.
I love how Josh is like, oh my God, this game's so good. Paul's like, I hate that game.
Here's
I'm
a cool
like,
example.
Game's good.
There's a pastry on a table, but it looks like a power bracelet from Link's Awakening. It literally looks exactly like the power bracelet. And you take it and you just eat it. And you're like, oh, that was a delicious croissant. You feel more powerful for some reason.
It does kind of look like a croissant.
Yeah, but it's like literally they're making fun of it. They're literally like not only shouting out Zelda and making a crazy Zelda reference, but they're also like being goofy and their own thing. And there are countless references like that. So many. You won't catch them all for sure.
I'm never gonna unsee croissant when I play the freaking.
I know. I
original.
Well, yeah, the original. The new one is.
The new one. It looks like a bracelet.
It's so genius. There's like so many things. Like in the very beginning, you like push a rock onto the switch. And then you go to the door that it opened, and the rock jumps off. It was like, what? You wanted me to like stay in place? Like you didn't tell me that. You want me to like stay on the switch? And you're like, okay, you push it on, and then it jumps off again. It's like a bit. Like all of a sudden, like everything is like some weird bit that you don't even understand. But dude, I really think you should play this game all the way through and just like kind of bite the bullet on the graphics. Also, Deltarune, fantastic game. That's the sequel with different characters.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's more like Adventure Time, but it's like really amazing.
Really super.
Oh, you're crazy. You're crazy.
We're gonna have to make him do it at some point, Josh.
They're great games.
Paul plays Undertale.
I think that game is a 10, personally. It's really good.
It's not a 10. It's not a 10. It's not a 10.
I have a lot of good things to say about. I'm telling you, the script is one of the best things ever written in a game.
The
graphics are purposeful. It's supposed to be like it's meaning to be like an old RPG. It's meaning for that.
Yeah. No, I get that.
I like that.
I mean, there's a lot of games that like accomplish.
And then if we're talking about the ending, being like a what the fuck, dude, it does that like 12 times. Like it like keeps ripping the rug out from under you, and you're like, what the fuck is happening? It's amazing.
Yeah,
but Zach hates it.
No, I don't hate it. I enjoy it. It's just I don't think it's a 10. That's another topic for another day.
Yeah, I might check it out. Like, there's a lot of things that for me, like for instance, I really don't like the Mother games that much. Like
This
they're
is better.
fine, that's fine. But like
I
they're
don't think
fine. But a lot of the things that I really dislike about the Mother games are like super in your face in that game. You know,
I get
like
that.
really emphasized, and so like that's why to me it was unappealing. And I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm sure, I mean, a ton of people absolutely fucking love that game. So like I just don't think it's necessarily for me. But I may check it
Fair.
out, on your recommendation. I trust your opinion. So
I only like good games.
I do have another question, sort of a little more on topic here for you guys.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
let's hear it.
topics.
Have you ever read into a line of dialogue or a piece of writing in a game and
Incorrectly.
just been completely wrong?
yeah,
Oh, yes. I've actually
all the time.
like
Link's
I've,
Awakening.
Yeah, with Zelda
Oh,
stuff
okay.
actually is the big ones where like I'll like think I know a thing and then I'm like, wait, oh no, and it almost is a spoiler for you because you
Mhm.
didn't realize it before and you're like, oh fuck. I wish I had caught up. It would have made much more sense. Like that happens for sure to me a lot.
Dude, when I
I
first played Link's Awakening, I had so many like theories about like what the windfish was and like this and that. And like I was
Oh, yeah,
so
okay.
wrong. I was
me and my
way
friends,
off.
me and my friends used to timeline theorize, and we would literally do Zelda research in college and like make our own timelines based on actual research in the game. And then Historia came out like the next year, and we were like, "This is not
Damn
the
it.
real timeline. This is the one we wrote. This is real."
So
This is
you went full Pepe
I will
Sylvia
say,
on it.
I think that them adding the hero's downfall timeline was a cop out. And I think it's not like how a real timeline would work, where it's just branches of time. Like Link has the probability of losing in every single game. So
Yeah.
like, how many fucking timelines are there really? If you're
Sure,
saying that
sure, but I think there's like a pivotal
there's a
moment, right?
There's a meaning
like
to the Ocarina of Time
Yeah.
pivotal moment. I
Yeah.
agree.
I
But to
so the
me,
one
I
I
was
was
like,
thinking of-
I was a little like, when they
The
made
one
this.
I was thinking of
But I do
is
like
is
it.
the Team Rocket connection in Pokemon.
With their brother and sister.
No, the like that Team
game.
Rocket is like torturing Pokemon behind the scenes.
That's
And like
pretty bad.
a lot of the stuff that they cover in the anime is actually in the game, and we just didn't realize it because we saw something else there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a lot actually, especially in the early games. There's actually a lot of subtext in the Pokemon games that people are unaware of because you think of it as like a child's game. But Pokemon Black 2 or Black and White 2 kind of delve into more of that like darker side of Pokemon. And like kind of validate a lot of that subtext that you see in those earlier games, like what you were bringing up there, Zach. There's also like if you've ever read the Pokedex entries,
They're awesome.
they're wild. They're wild.
They're really awesome.
You know,
there's
I've
some
looked up the
really dark
Dark Thorns
stuff.
before,
Yeah.
Like the
Some good
whole what is it? Cubone
Cubone's a good
Kangaskhan
one.
connection
Yeah.
is terrifyingly dark.
Not as dark as the Cubone Marowak connection. Where he wears the skull of his fallen mother and mourns it.
What he's saying is that Cubone is a baby Kangaskhan.
Yeah.
If you look at the skull shape.
Actually, I don't know how much sense that makes because they're baby Marowaks. They like are baby Marowaks.
Yeah,
I'm
but
confused.
if you look at the skull shape of that it has, it looks like the same
Marowak?
skull, or it looks like the same head shape as
Doesn't it?
Kangaskhan.
It's Kangaskhan.
But it literally in the first entry, it says it wears the skull of its dead mother and mourns it.
Right. Kangaskhan.
Kangaskhan being the
I
dead
think
mother.
it references.
And then-
No,
no,
the dead mother in the game is the ghost Marowak that you have to use the Sylph Scope to see. It even says it's the mother of Cubone and stuff like. I swear to God, I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
about
no,
this.
I know.
At least in the
This
first.
is a theory
least-
that has gone
at
around.
least
Like,
it
Right, but
possibly
this is what I'm
progressed
talking
into
about.
that,
Like,
potentially
this is-
became that
this
theory.
is-
You know.
A reading between the lines thing
Okay.
Yeah.
that
I see you. I see
we may have gotten wrong. We don't officially know, I guess.
you.
Although Prime in the chat says Marowak was officially a quote Cubone who stops mourning his mother unquote.
Interesting. That's crazy, dude. My favorite is.
I think that kind of validates the. I think that still validates the Kangaskhan theory.
I think it does.
might.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Mewtwo
But like it's
is
never officially written in the game
Yeah.
that way.
Right.
It was
Mewtwo
just
is proof of
theory.
them like torturing Pokemon and shit too, and it's like crazy to see the other side. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the amount of subtext in those games for very narrative and like pretty clear games. Those have a lot of subtext, and I'm wondering actually, Paul, because you and I talked a while ago about playing through my Japanese copy of Green version with my memory of Pokemon and your limited Japanese to try and hack our way through it.
Yeah.
I wonder if we'll pick up on any of that stuff.
That'd be cool.
When we
did I ever tell you this, that like way back in the day I was part of a translation project for Pokemon?
I think you said that. You said red or fire.
No. I think it was gold and or silver because because it was before they had come out on the US side, right? But they were already out in Japan, and you could get the ROM, and so I like joined a group of people that were using a hex editor to go in and translate and edit the text in the ROM file. And we got probably like 30% through the game before the official version came out. So then we're like, oh, well, there's no point
there
continuing
but,
here.
I mean, we never got an official version of Green, so
yeah. Well, yeah, but you got red and blue, so they're basically the same thing. There's not any kind of like narrative difference in Green.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Red and blue. And we did get we got leaf green.
That's true.
So the Game Boy Advance version. I actually have that.
The color.
Yeah. So, but
I feel like Jay's got.
But yeah, there's actually that's funny that you brought that up because I was kind of thinking of it earlier and then it kind of slipped my mind. But I think Pokemon is a like a freaking awesome example of games with subtext, especially the earlier ones.
For real.
Not so much the later ones.
The newer ones, it's I mean the audience is like the target audience. I think for the original Pokemon games is a little bit higher than it is now. You know, I know plenty of small children at this point.
I'm pretty sure they add things in for fans as well.
Definitely. I mean, absolutely they do. But they're not putting in that deep level of subtext. Honestly, Pokemon is just a money printing machine.
Yeah, it is.
At this point. And the more copies they can sell, the more copies they can sell to kids, the more money they're making, unfortunately, because people like us have grown out of it. You know, we're not looking for, except, I mean,
we're not
Josh, when they drop a new Pokemon Snap and
come out. Yeah. And
did you see what Prime said in chat? So Prime says, Cubone and Kangaskhan have started to consistently appear in the wild in the same locations throughout multiple generations. Cubone can also call for help in certain games, and none other than Kangaskhan or Kangas, Scan. I can't fucking talk. Appears. Kangaskhan. That's right. This seems important improbable at first, although it has never been directly confirmed. The series creators and related media continually add more fuel to the fire and point to where the theory is likely an unspoken truth. So there you go. I mean,
and that is exactly what we're talking about. That's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah. Boom. There it is.
Bomb.
I think
we did it.
We can end on that probably.
Drop the mic.
Good place to end.
Prime.
That's good. Thank you for that, Prime. We really appreciate the input.
Subtext in games, man.
Awesome. It's one of my favorite things in video games.
It's the best part. It's the reason that I love Mega Man so much.
Yeah, it's the reason I love Mega Man. It's the reason I love the Metroid series. It's the reason I love a lot of games. It really, like, it makes you feel more attached to the game because you are you invest more thought into it while you're playing it.
You became Sherlock Holmes. You did Sherlock Holmes stuff to come to a conclusion. Whether or not it's right doesn't matter. You're not Sherlock Holmes, so you can go on with your life. But you're not doing it for a living.
All my theories about the wind
possessed by an elder god.
Yes, we should probably wrap up. I hate to say.
Yeah. No, we're wrapping.
I fucked us by being late, but
no, you're good, dude. And we hit an hour. We're good. So thank you guys for joining us. If you're watching today on the Twitch channel, you're watching live. That's my Twitch channel. I stream on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. It's been a little spotty lately because I haven't had a main game to play, and I also have had crazy stuff going on. I'm getting my second vaccine on Tuesday. So thanks, Zach. You beat me to the punch on that. All of our socials are in the chat right now if you want to check that out. I also stream on Saturdays. Always, it's Samurai Saturday. We play a samurai game. And then, of course, here every Sunday night we have the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, please share it. Like, comment, all that fun stuff too. If you like, we'll communicate with you there. But sharing is really, really, really helpful for us. And then don't forget to join the Discord, where if you like the stuff that we talk about, you can continue those conversations there, and also like play games with us and stuff. So, so that's a lot of fun, and we really like your input for the show as well.
Yes.
So if you have questions you want us to answer, or topics that you want us to go over, please don't be shy about that stuff.
We have a producer / director, but he's only one person, and we want to hear more from other people.
For sure. Yep. Josh, tell us where we can find you, man.
Yes, Lord Yeshua and Lord Yeshua TTV and all my bullshits. And I don't know. You might see me this week. We'll see.
Cool.
Fingers crossed.
We shall see. Zacharoni.
I'm on Twitch at Another Letdown. I'll be live Thursday night for, I think, it'll be Arkham Night. Closing some stuff down. I'm going to be giving away this awesome signed Harley Quinn action figure this week. It's happening.
Very cool.
Signed by Amanda Connor. And so that'll be for one person who donates to the charity I've been raising money for. That's Embrace Kids. They're pretty great. And we will be live on Saturday for miniatures painting with Paul's brother Adam and my friend Mike. That's always a good time, good and nice and chill. Listen to some Megaman music, because that's what we do, and watch us paint. I'm on Twitter at DENONCZD, and my YouTube is youtube.com/anotherletdowncf.
Excellent. Thanks once again, guys. Have an awesome night. We'll see you next week.
See ya.